Unfortunately, well, I think a lot of you are going to like this because you hate ESPN, but unfortunately for ESPN and Disney, things are getting worse, and they're getting worse really fast. There's a lot to this, and I'm going to break it down step by step, so lock in. Guess what, Disney? I got some bad news for you. You're going to keep going woke, and you're going to keep going broke. And that's good for me, because all the people that tune off ESPN, they're going to come to the Matt B. Great channel, where we just talk about sports. After last night's video, I did not expect to make another video on this situation. I really didn't. I was like, yep, it's going to be a one-time thing. But here we are. I'm actually really shocked we're talking about this subject and matter again, because I had a completely different video lined up for you guys tonight, but we're going to put that off until tomorrow night or maybe the day after. Now, if you didn't see last night's video, I highly recommend it, because you're going to need a lot of that context to really pick up and understand what we're going to talk about in tonight's video. And we're making a follow-up video for multiple different reasons, but the main one is ESPN continues to embarrass themselves. And before we go even farther, when I say ESPN, I need you to understand and pick up on this. I'm mainly talking about Disney. We refer to them as ESPN, but Disney owns ESPN. Disney is their parent company, and Disney is going to tell ESPN what to do. And speaking of Disney, we'll talk about them in just a second, because I got a bone to pick. And oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing the intro, none of that. We ain't got time for that. We're getting straight into it. If you like the content, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you a part of our community, where we don't talk about politics and go woke. We just talk about sports. We're simply a community of guys and girls, and everybody can vouch for us in the comment section, that like sports. That's it. We don't go woke over here. We don't talk about politics, and a reason for that is because I don't care, but I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself. We'll get into that in just a second as well. First things first, last night's video, what do we talk about? How ESPN, they're laying off a crap ton of people. And why this is such a big deal is because we've never seen ESPN fire people of this magnitude. ESPN let go of some notable and big time names, to say the least. Jeff Van Gundy, one of the best analysts in the NBA, he got fired. Jalen Rose and our beloved David Pollock of college football. And the two other notable ones that I'll throw in there are Steve Young and Todd McShay. And that's not to discredit the other people on this list, but those are just some of the notable ones that stick out to me. Why do they fire so many people though, and all these big time names? It's rather simple, ladies and gentlemen. They're not getting a return on their investment. The sad reality and truth is, it's not just in the past couple of years, it's been the past 8 to 10 years, ESPN has been heading downhill. And there's so many aspects to this, and it feels like I've said this 5 times already, but we'll get to that in just a second as well. The short answer to all of this is, Disney is losing money, so they gotta make cuts. That is a short answer, and at least in Disney's eyes, all these people they laid off, they're replaceable. And you wanna know the sad part about this, and I actually regretted not talking about this more than I did in the video last night. I should have took up for David Pollock more, because this guy has done a fabulous job over his many years. What was it, 11 years working for ESPN? Extremely professional, always had pretty dang good takes, and I thought he did a great job overall. Knows his stuff, he's easy to listen to, and never had any problems. And they let a guy who was very good at his job go for pretty much Pat McAfee. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. Don't have a problem with adding Pat McAfee, but firing David Pollock, I just don't like that move. That is my humble opinion though, and my humble opinion doesn't matter because I don't work for Disney. I'm not pulling the strings, but, and I have a big but, you know who is pulling the strings? You guys, the viewers. Because whether you believe this or not, every single one of you has a play in all of these decisions. The viewers, aka the customers, will always be the most important factor in all of this. And with that being said, I want to check out and read off some of the comments, or some of the top comments at least, that you guys left on the previous video, because there's some great takes and great perspectives. Here's a top like comment on that video yesterday. All I know is that I want Malika Andrews gone right now, this instant. Gotta be honest, don't watch ESPN. I have no idea what she did. Could somebody inform me in the comment section, what did she do that has everybody upset? I assume it's bad because this comment got over 170 likes. Another comment right here. As much as I'm a fan of Pat, the fact that ESPN got rid of half their company for one guy is crazy. Under that, somebody replied, they're desperate, and the person who wrote the original comment said, facts. Not to mention ESPN hates seeing independent sports media thriving, which is why they bought out Pat, because they know most folks were watching him over their own shows on TV. Yep, you're 100% right, and that's what we talked about in last night's video. I told you guys, YouTube, and you're going to see more people like this, it's the new ESPN. It's the new TV. Check out this comment from KB. Disney and ESPN went all in on politics and the social justice. They deserve everything they are getting. They should have stayed doing what they did best. Oh yeah, you're 100% right on that, my friend, and let's talk about it because I got a bone to pick. I quit watching TV right around 2018 or 2019, around that time frame. I wound up switching over to YouTube TV around that time as well because they had all the shows that carry all the sports games. Or not all the shows, what was that? Oh yeah, all the networks, that's what I meant to say. The only time in the past 4 or 5 years I've watched quote-unquote TV are football games or basketball games. That's it. So really, I'm not even watching TV at all. I'm just watching sports. And I remember this just like it was yesterday. It was around, I think this time last summer, I was like, you know what? Let me turn on ESPN. Let me turn on Sports Center, see what they're talking about. And I don't exactly know what show it was or who was up there, but there was 3 or 4 different people talking. I threw it on in the background of me just cooking some stuff. And the first 6 to 8 minutes I had it on, they're not even talking about sports. They're talking about racism, black and white, politics, this and that, no sports. And that was my last straw. I was like, man, I ain't even watched these guys in 3 years. The first time I turn it on, and they're still talking about random crap. Look, man, y'all can take this how you want. When I turn on Sports Center or ESPN, I don't watch it anymore, but when I used to, I don't want to hear anything about politics, this wokeness, black, white, Mexican. I don't want to hear anything about that. You know what I want to hear and watch? Sports. I know, right? It's crazy. It's a crazy concept. I know. I'm the bad guy for thinking that. I should be some social justice person who should care about that stuff. Well, guess what? I don't. I either want to watch sports or hear people talk about sports. That's it. And once ESPN started doing that bullcrap around 2017, 2018, where they started trying to be social justice warriors, I quit. And then in 2020 or 2021, whenever it was, I tried to give them another chance, and they're still doing the same crap. I was like, no, I'm done. There's people on YouTube that are way smarter, know way more crap about what they're talking about that I much rather watch. And I don't even watch a lot of sports content because I make it all the time, so I really don't feel like watching it. But if I do want to consume sports content, I'm not watching ESPN. I'm watching somebody on YouTube. And this is a rabbit hole that I really don't want to dive deep into because we could be sitting up here making a 2-hour conspiracy theory video. But Disney, they're doing some shady crap, man. It's not just with ESPN, it's with the cartoon shows nowadays. They're trying to preach this wokeness and just some stuff I really don't want to dive into because I really don't care. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news to people that want me to be some social justice warrior and speak on these quote-unquote politics and important topics, but I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I just don't care. It's not even like I want to and I'm stopping myself. No, I don't want to. To our community, every single person watching this video, I can promise you one thing. Never, and I mean never on my channel have I or will I in the future talk about politics, talk about this wokeness crap, social justice problems, none of that. Here and there, like recently we talked about the Titanic submarine and like my bullcrap conspiracy theory. Yeah, we may have fun with that, but everybody knows that's just jokes. Will we talk about something like that? Maybe once in a blue moon. But outside of that, no. We're just going to keep it sports related. I am a simple man, and as lame as this is to say, I live one of the most boringest lives you'll ever see. I'm so boring. All I do is work out, watch sports, and talk about sports. That's it. I don't party, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. That's it. And if I'm not talking about sports or watching sports, I'm either playing sports like golf, basketball, anything like that with my friends. So I just wanted to make that clear. You may not like my content sometimes. You may think I have some terrible takes. I might be annoying sometimes. I might ramble on a topic for too long. But guess what? We keep it sports related. And that's why I don't feel bad when some people are now and then like, yo, Matt, you take a little bit too long to get to the point. Okay, if you feel that way, guess what? Go watch ESPN where they're talking about something that ain't even related to sports. ESPN has 30-minute programs where 15 minutes of them are commercials and they only talk about sports for 3 minutes out of 30 minutes. So no, if I make a 10-minute video and I ramble for 2.5 minutes about something else that's not the main topic, no, I don't feel bad. If you can't sit through one of my 12-minute videos where it's nothing about sports, then this ain't the channel for you and you got ADHD or something. Go watch ESPN. How about that? Go watch ESPN. But oh, wait a minute. That's right. People aren't watching ESPN. Why? Because the quality of their content is terrible nowadays. So what did ESPN have to do? They had to pay a YouTuber, Pat McAfee, I'm going to say this again, a YouTuber $85 million. And whether you want to believe this or not, I've never even watched him, but I know this is a fact. He is worth every single penny. He gets a lot of backlash. Some people say he screams too much. Like I've stated, I've never watched one of his live streams, so I don't know. But here's what I do know. Numbers don't lie, and he's always pulling like 30,000 viewers per stream. Concurrent viewers. These are all throughout the duration of the stream. So Disney's seeing that and they're like, holy crap, how is this guy pulling so many viewers? And you know what it is? Pat McAfee is his own brand, so that draws in the viewership. When he's doing his own live stream, he's not being controlled like a robot. He has free will. He can say whatever he wants, just like I can right now. And that's the draw in to him because it's a single man show. But now with him going to ESPN, it's not going to be the same way. He's being controlled now. They're going to give him some leeway, but no, he can't say everything he wants to say. It's over. Once you sign that contract, you sell your soul. And I'm not blaming the guy. If Disney offered me an $85 million contract, what do you think I'd say? I'd probably say yes. And I'm sorry, guys, it would censor me a little bit. And I know a lot of you wouldn't like that, but you can't fault me for taking $85 million. I ain't faulting none of you if you take it. It is what it is, but check on this comment. Something bad is definitely happening at Disney. I applied for a graphic design job at ESPN 8 months ago. During the first interview stage, they literally killed all open positions and told everyone they are no longer hiring. Wow, what about that? That's interesting. And by the way, shout out to Winford here. Hope I'm saying your username correctly. You must be pretty dang talented if you're applying for jobs at ESPN. I like this comment. I'm old enough to remember when ESPN was the premier brand in sports news and Disney was a trusted company to deliver quality content for kids. But it's 2023 and neither are true anymore. Yep, you're right. You're 10,000% right. You guys know this. I could sit up here all day and read off these comments. There's so many great ones, but we're only going to take a look at a couple more and we got to get a move on. Miss Connie Harris said, I like that name, by the way. Shout out to the female viewers. She stated, you're right. McAfee is his own brand. What Disney doesn't understand is how much they are hated. ESPN is banking on McAfee not losing subscribers or regaining the subscribers he'll lose when he does officially start at ESPN. The reason so many people watch McAfee is because he wasn't on ESPN and those people will not tune in or tune on. No, my bad. I can't read. Will not turn on ESPN at all. My bad. And yeah, Miss Connie, she nailed it on the coffin. I just said that. The reason people watch Pat McAfee is because of Pat McAfee was his own brand. But now that he's going to ESPN, it's not going to be the same. I'm telling you it's not. He'll still be able to scream and stuff, but it's just not going to hit the same. I can promise you that. There's just a certain stigma about it. Once you're working for ESPN, you're not really your own man anymore. You're ESPN's man. Ryan J stated, I barely consume any ESPN content anymore. I follow YouTube channels like this, thank you by the way, that produce in-depth sports-focused content and not political crap. People want sports on sports channel, simple as that. ESPN has lost its way. Well, Ryan, fortunately enough for you, I don't care about politics, and yeah, I already went over all that mess. And there's a couple more comments I'll throw up right here because I think they're good, but they're just stating that Pat McAfee, he pretty much sold out, and he used to be his own brand, but now he's ESPN's brand. Unfortunately, well, I think a lot of you are going to like this because you hate ESPN, but unfortunately for ESPN and Disney, things are getting worse, and they're getting worse really fast. There's a lot to this, and I'm going to break it down step by step, so lock in. When I was really watching ESPN religiously every single day, I was coming home from middle school and in high school, and around 3:30, College Football Live, it came on TV, and it was from 3:30 to 4. I remember it like clockwork because I look forward to it every single day after school. And that's when ESPN was so good because from 3:30 to 4, I could count on pretty much, outside of commercials, 20 minutes of pure football talk, and more importantly, college football talk. No politics, no nothing, just college football, and I loved it. And even after College Football Live ended, I could continue to watch ESPN because more sports shows came on and they were good as well. And to give you some context, this would be around the time frame, when was I in middle school and high school? Around 2013 to 2018. So ironically enough, like I stated earlier in the video, 2018 was right when I stopped watching, and there's a reason for it. And all throughout that time frame, they slowly started transitioning into just straight up bull crap, and we already talked all about that. But here's what has been the biggest detriment to Disney, and it has been their downfall, and it will continue to be their biggest downfall. When I was a kid growing up, and even when I was in my teenage years, I remember to hear anything about sports, you had to watch ESPN. If you wanted to hear the news on Alabama football or Georgia football or LSU Tennessee football, you had to tune into ESPN. That was the only source. Wi-Fi wasn't a normal thing back then. I didn't even get Wi-Fi, my family didn't, until 2016, so when I was 16 years old. And I think that was the case for a lot of people growing up, so pretty much all the way up until 2016, if you wanted to hear anything about sports, you had to tune into ESPN. Whether you wanted to be entertained, informed, etc., you had to tune in there. That was the only option. Well, guess what? The start of Wi-Fi being in every household was the beginning of a domino effect for ESPN going downhill. Because what did Wi-Fi create? Other media outlets and sources to gather this entertainment and information. Nobody even thinks about this, but Twitter has hurt ESPN so much. Because, for example, there's a lot of NBA free agency stuff going on right now, and everybody, where they gather that information, is not from watching ESPN, it's on Twitter. When we hear about all these new NBA players and NFL players and college football news signing these NIL deals or NFL, NBA deals, it's on Twitter first. Twitter is the new, in my humble opinion, ESPN when it comes to updates. Because now what's happening is people will send me information and breaking news on Twitter, and then I'll see ESPN send me an alert on my phone. They're not even first to the news anymore. And that was one of the biggest appeals for ESPN, because when there was breaking news, you couldn't watch a Matt Be Great video. You couldn't watch a video on YouTube where somebody's talking about the breaking news. You had to wait till ESPN talked about it. But now you can see information and entertainment on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And that alone has destroyed ESPN, because we no longer have to sit through 15 minutes of commercial just to hear the breaking news that LaMelo Ball signing some new NBA contract. We don't have to sit through 15 minutes of commercial to find out that a quarterback's leaving Alabama to go to Utah State. You can now either see it on Twitter, you can see your favorite YouTuber talk about it, etc. ESPN, yet again Disney in this case, they don't provide that value anymore. Or at least to me, maybe some of y'all watch them, but like I stated, I ain't watched them since 2018. I don't need to. I find out all my news on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. If I want to be entertained, you know what I watch? YouTube. I don't watch ESPN. It's fabricated bullcrap. They're stringing them along like puppets up there. They have no free will and they can't say what they want to say. And I'll give Disney some credit. At least they realize that, because they was like, well, can't beat them, join them. Let's sign a YouTuber, Pat McAfee. And on top of that, why don't we can old David Pollock and Todd McShay while we're at it? I'm going to be honest. If Disney really truly believes that cutting or canning, whatever you want to call it, David Pollock is going to save them money, they've lost their minds. The guy was good at his job. I enjoyed listening to him and watching him up there. Disney thinks the answer to their problem is firing all these old people and bringing in people that the younger generation can relate to and that they like. But the sad reality is, and they're going to find this out in the next 10 to 20 years, that's not their problem. Their problem is their service is no longer needed. And that's a harsh reality to face, but it's a cold, hard truth. Your service isn't needed anymore. We don't need you anymore, buddy. You're gone. It's the same thing with GameStop. You had a good run, GameStop. You was awesome back in the day, but now everything's digital. Same thing with bookstores. Bookstores were awesome, but now you buy books online and read them on your phone or tablet. And what's even more embarrassing about this, it just puts the cherry on top, Disney knows they got to do something to draw in the attention, so they start talking about politics and all this wokeness. Guess what, Disney? I got some bad news for you. You're going to keep going woke, and you're going to keep going broke. And that's good for me, because all the people that tune off ESPN, they're going to come to the Matt Be Great channel, where we just talk about sports. I'm in competition with Disney, and I got some bad news for Disney. I love competition, so bring it on. This video's already been way too long. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below, but roll me.